again.
Hello.
What would you say today if our internal auditor would find a non-compliance to requirements and would have to create a non-conformity? Could you give any advice how to raise a perfect non-conformity, please?
Wow, I'm not sure there's such quite a thing as perfect, but yeah, let me just give a little bit of background. So when I was trained many years ago as an auditor, I was taught to write the nonconformity with exactly what I saw. So if I saw micrometer 1, 2, 3 out of calibration in work cell number 4, I would write that as my nonconformity. Okay. But what do you think that led to? If you write your nonconformity that way? Yeah.
I think that first of all, there should be a risk taken into account. So if this will really drive to a nonconformity and affect the customer, this would be the first impression what I would have, the first thought to raise a nonconformity. Secondly, if my nonconformity is only one single situation and other situations are not confirmed, even if the background of the requirement is more or less the same, how my potential nonconformity would spread in the system.
Yeah,
I think this would be my my guessing why I see the nonconformity.
Yeah. And I think the other point I was getting at there is if I write the nonconformity, gauge 1, 2, 3 was out of calibration, and I present that as the written nonconformity to the auditee, the tendency would be, oh, that's easy to fix. I'll just calibrate that 1 micrometer, reissue it back out. I've finished. Yeah. So it led very much to only the correction and not asking what in our system failed that allowed the situation to happen. So within IATF, they are very clear for third-party auditors that they have to write the nonconformity around the systemic issue. So when an IATF third-party auditor writes a nonconformity, they write what is the problem with the system, they write the requirement, they write the evidence, and then they grade, as you said, they grade the nonconformity based upon risk. When I'm teaching people to do internal audits, I try and teach them that same way, that in the case of finding this micrometer out of calibration, that's to fix that problem is the correction. What I should be asking is what in my system failed that allowed that micrometer to be out in the workplace, out of calibration. So in that case, I might write my nonconformity, the calibration process is not fully effective, or the calibration process is not effectively implemented. Because what I'm trying to drive the organization to do is once they've done the correction, to ask the questions, what in our system failed that allowed that to happen? And maybe they use the 5-way approach to try and drill down to the potential root cause of the problem and then take systemic corrective action to stop the same problem happening again. Yeah. So there's nothing in the IATF requirements that say you have to write nonconformities in that way. But I always encourage organizations, why don't you take the same approach that the third-party certification bodies do? So just to reinforce the statement of nonconformity, the requirement that has been contravened in the relevant standard, supported by the evidence, and then graded major or minor, depending on the risk. Yeah, that's the key. If I was to write a perfect nonconformity as a third-party auditor, I would have to write it in that format, because that is the format that is embedded in the CARA, the Common Audit Report application format for writing third-party audit nonconformities.
Yeah. I really like in your answer this, that you emphasized that the problem is not a person who in this case,
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
working with calibration. It was system, yes, which failed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And also, that's why I also like 5 why methodology, because there is a question, what was the reason of systemic root cause? So thank you very much for this perfect clarification of perfect nonconformity. I hope everyone also will like this approach of third-party auditing certification bodies like they are applying, because it's really a great value, not to blame person who, in this case, like did not do calibration correctly, but what was in a system to fail. Thank you very much today, Paul, and hear you soon.
No, thank you.